Why wouldn't you survive The Walking Dead?
In the world of The Walking Dead, we see humanity...
First off, do y'all think y'all could survive The Walking Dead? Me? What? With flying colors. I'm not taking no shit from nobody. You got something to say, go start your own town. Disrespect me, you're dead. Feed them niggas to the walkers.
Very brink of extinction by a mysterious
I'ma survive.
disease dubbed the wildfire virus, wiping out over 99% of the world's population and turning people into flesh-eating monsters referred to in the series.
Honestly, no, I'm crazy.
And although that all sounds very bad on paper, I still think a lot of people watch the series and think, yeah, surviving in this world would be a piece of cake.
Easy.
I'm sure I could morph into a prime Rick Grimes, grab my red-handled machete, and start hacking some slow-moving zombies to death. But I'm here to be the bearer of bad news and tell you, you're very wrong. Because when society collapses, there are far deadlier factors at play than merely just avoiding walker bites. So this is why you...
Like I said, the people around me, if you not 10 toes, you 50-50, you getting put out, my nigga. I need niggas that's gonna be all 10 behind me. If I see a little a window of weakness in your blood, guess what? Feed a nigga to the wolves. We ain't got no time for no disloyalty shit around this motherfucker. We trying to survive and rebuild this motherfucker. Nigga, if you disrespect anybody in this motherfucker that's a head honcho, you're dead.
Wouldn't survive
Off real.
Walking Dead. Okay, I know I've just stated that there's more to worry about than just being bitten by a walker, but we must first address the elephant in the room, and that is the flesh-eating reanimated corpses that call this universe home. Now, at first glance, any zombie seen in the series post-season 1, I'll admit, would be fairly easy to deal with in isolation. But not only did the series creator Robert Kirkman confirm that the zombies in this universe outnumber the living roughly 5,000 to 1, but I also see people when tackling this hypothetical scenario totally dismiss one crucial fact, and that is the concept of zombie media just doesn't exist in the world of The Walking Dead. I mean, think about it. We've all grown up watching Shaun of the Dead, playing Plants vs Zombies, or binging horror films, and because of this, we are familiar with the fairly universal rules of these undead monsters, i.e. must destroy the brain to kill them, a bite means you're infected, and avoid population-dense areas at all costs. But the people of the Walking Dead universe, with you included if you were dropped into it, would have no idea of these aforementioned zombie rules, or even the concept of a zombie itself. It would just be a totally alien concept, decreasing your chances of survival massively. So, let me set the scene for you all. One night, your dad becomes sick with a strange illness, and that night, whilst asleep in your room, you suddenly wake up to the excruciating pain of your own father biting into your arm.
First of all, whilst we in the same room, nigga. Second of all, you come around me, off with their heads. I don't care.
But your immediate reaction after waking up would not be to smash your dad's skull in with a lamp and amputate your infected arm, because you wouldn't even understand the sheer severity of the situation until it was way too late. And I know that example sounds incredibly niche and specific, but this is exactly how millions of people would be caught off guard. When a loved one is burning up with a fever and acting violently, our instincts would be to comfort them, try and calm them down, or call an ambulance.
Isolation.
Not grab a shotgun and end their existence. And
Isolation.
It's this fundamental lack of knowledge that would sweep across the planet, causing the death of millions. Long before many of you could pick up a baseball bat, wrap it in barbed wire, and start strutting around the apocalypse.
Little pig, little pig!
And even if you did somehow
That's
manage
like me
to
and my
survive
roommate.
the initial wave of
Clean,
domestic
fried,
horror,
they gone.
your survival would still boil largely down to sheer geographical luck. Because if you live in a major city, the odds are already stacked against you. Picture hearing the chaotic news reports of a virus making people uncontrollably violent.
I'm be outside like these. I've been with it all my life. And then hit my pose on the porch. Then like these. Then my last couple words. Wait till they get close enough. Shing! Off with the nigga head. I'm not finna sit there and play with nobody. I'm not finna sit there and play with nobody. It's off with everybody's head. I gotta say my last look, my piece, and bang, aura flow just expand. I was out going crazy. When I get tired, what's up? Somebody else got the shift.
But you sit alone in a high-rise apartment.
Oh yeah, 3
you would
3
have no idea what to do in those crucial first few days. Do you fight back
I got
against
one
these
sword or 2 little
crazy
years.
individuals chasing you down the
Somebody
street,
getting
or is there a
fucked.
vaccine on the way that can heal them all? But little do you know, the entire world is already infected and there is no cure coming. And even if you did decide to fight back for your life, how long would it take you to realize that body shots do absolutely nothing against these things?
Why
And the
would you
only way
body
to
shot
stop
something that's
them
dead?
is with a direct blow to the brain. My point is, many people would die long before Rick Grimes even woke up from his coma in the series, as they just simply would have no idea what threat they were dealing with. And that's not to mention, even if you did survive the initial days/weeks of the apocalypse, how easy it would be to let your guard down for just a moment and get bitten or have your camp invaded by a passing horde of the dead. I mean, take Tyrese from the main TV series, for example. A 6-foot-tall, physically capable former NFL player is caught off guard by a singular walker. And later on in the show, we saw this with Carl Grimes as well. Just one.
See, that's the thing. Stop arguing in like open areas. Wait till you get back to your home base when everything's secured to settle your differences. You know, I'm like, wait till we get back and leave. I don't care if niggas want to sit back and try to talk it out. Wait till we get back. Settle that shit somewhere else.
One lapse of judgment or one wrong turn could mean your end. Add to the fact you'd probably be sleep deprived, starving, and dehydrated, and it makes these mistakes a lot easier to occur. So although the zombies from The Walking Dead might not be clicker-level threats, they still possess a very real danger, whether it's from a lack of knowledge, being caught off guard, or the sheer numbers of them roaming around. But hey, at least walkers are somewhat in your control. The next factor is entirely based on your immune system. Okay, so now we've identified just one of the many threats of surviving in this world, let's look at...
The only way I'm fucked if they start off airborne and it so happen to get into my system. Not from my bite, just hypothetically, I just catch the virus. That's the only way I'm fucked. But other than that, I'm surviving.
Into something that only further decreases your chances of survival. And that is, of course, the wildfire virus itself. So to understand why your immune system is your biggest liability here, we first have to look at how the wildfire virus itself actually operates. And this brings us nicely to one of the biggest plot twists in the entire series, and that is the secret Dr. Jenna whispers to Rick Grimes in Season 1, revealing that everybody is infected, including living people. But what does this mean for your survival chances? Well, we all know the virus turns people into flesh-eating monsters and relies on reanimated hosts to pass on the deadly infection via bites. But what people fail to account for, as seen throughout Fear the Walking Dead Season 1, is a huge portion of the world's population flat out died from the virus without being bitten. Now, putting a number on just how many people died from this would be purely speculation, as it's never actually been stated in the series. But we can say with absolute certainty, your immune system might not be able to combat the initial infection in the first place. Essentially meaning no amount of combat training, stockpiling food, or rural living will protect you if you are one of the millions who simply fall sick and die on day one of the apocalypse.
That pissed me off.
In August of 2010, the virus swept across the globe and infected everybody, laying dormant in billions. And you might just get genetically unlucky. So,
I've seen you on TikTok.
To the initial pathogen.
Trinity. Let me think. Let me stick in. I've not seen you in a minute. I follow you on TikTok. Trinity. Let me think. Trinity. Thick baby. Let me think. Let it sink in. I think I remember.
You run a fatal fever, and you're basically dead before you even realize that
the
apocalypse is happening. And ultimately, this factor is totally out of your control. And there is a very real threat that your immune system wouldn't even let you survive the first 48 hours.
Copy. That's what I thought about. That's exactly what I thought about.
If you or somebody else dies from a non-zombie related incident, like a heart attack or infection, for example, they will come back as a walker, which is why it's so hard to maintain
I've been
a
great.
community in
I've been
this
doing
environment.
good.
Because all it takes is one non-walker related fatality and it can cause utter chaos. If you're
That's what I'm saying. If anybody in my circle start doing some fuck shit, they are getting let go.
not
Expeditiously.
extremely careful. If you haven't already gathered, there's a huge element of luck that goes into surviving
Wearing
the
orange.
apocalypse, but things will now get even worse.
Orange.
Let's assume you get genetically lucky, survive the copious amounts of walkers roaming around the streets, and none of your family get infected. Well, now you have to deal with the pleasure of other survivors. Now, I already find dealing with people hard enough in the real world, so now imagine a...
You said what? I'll say, oh. I'll say I might be done in a minute. That's probably everything I'll probably say I might be done in a minute. I just said that the other day too. But it's just like, I'm just thug it out for the time being.
Survivors. Now, I already find
But I've been chilling now. I took me a what, a 4-day break, well, 2-day break. I might take me another one.
Zero regard for human life and views you purely as an expendable asset, rolling up on you with a tank.
I have a tank.
My point is, we quite clearly see in the series the biggest threats after the initial fall of society.
I've seen 3 months. It's been a while.
And walkers quickly become a background hazard.
Anybody come on my base talking some shit, ain't no negotiator, nothing. That's what I've been trying to do. But like, niggas coming to my base talking crazy, I'm gonna do nigga be like, what the fuck is that? All the motherfuckers getting dropped. Everybody getting dropped.
Post-apocalyptic
I'm walking
landscape
on.
is an utterly ruthless place, and it's usually the worst of the worst who will survive. The character of Dale sums this up perfectly in Season 2, where he describes this new world as now being survival of the fittest. When supplies are scarce, shelter is limited, and disagreements happen, unfortunately, people will very quickly resort to violence in order to solve disputes and problems. I mean, we even see it in the real world, so when you remove the punishment and consequences of the law, it would basically become the purge on steroids. I think the absolute scariest part,
as long as you watch Season 1, you good.
Without a doubt be dealing with the other survivors. You let your guard down for 1 second or hesitate and someone else could kill you. You run the constant risk of raiders stealing your supplies and doing much, much worse. And if your community's resources are getting tight, even your closest allies might decide your share of the food is worth more than your own life. Ultimately, in order to survive, you would have to be incredibly careful of who you let into your group.
Literally.
If you go it alone, you run the risk of being overwhelmed by a larger group. And if you go for the safety in numbers approach, someone you once trusted might betray you. To be brutally honest, I dread to think about all the atrocious acts once sophisticated people would be committing in a now lawless world. Murder, SA, cannibalism, theft, and much, much more. Add in layers of deceit, lies, and false hope, and it makes every single person you run into in your post-apocalyptic journey.
Every group got their own shit they gotta go out and grab and look for.
By the way, spoiler alert, you are not Rick Grimes, so you don't have the main character plot armor we see in the series.
Ooh. But you not know my name. I will do way better than Rick. I come through that bitch named Negan. I take your base and your peoples under my control. They not gonna switch up on me. Cause I'm gonna let them know. I mean, look, I feel like y'all understand what y'all got going on, but what I got going on is something different. I'm in this motherfucker to survive. Y'all gotta listen to one nigga. Everybody over here got a voice. Make them feel that. Y'all feel like y'all don't have no say so over nothing? Come on. Nigga. But mind you, it's not gonna be that many people.
Antagonists you could run into in this world: the termites, the governor, the claimers, the wolves, the whisperers, and the list goes on.
There we go.
And these are only the ones we see on screen, so think what else could be lurking out there. In a world of survival of the fittest, where hesitation becomes fatal, it would be brutal, exhausting, and a deeply depressing place to try and exist. And look, of course, I'm not saying every single person would be this evil lunatic, but unfortunately, the vast majority probably would be. And it's the sad, but ultimately realistic truth of human nature. because when our backs are against the walls, we become desperate, selfish, and loyalties would very quickly go out the window.
Nah.
All it takes is you walking along one day and somebody hiding in the bushes decides they want your stuff, so they're going to kill you for it. Or you hesitate in pulling the trigger, realizing the severity of taking another human life, only to be beaten to it by that other person who shoots you first. Or,
have a nice day.
Worse, you walk into a settlement under the pretenses they will take you in and look after you, only to find out it's a bunch of cannibals and you're on the menu tonight. At least with walkers, you know what to expect. A mindless pursuit of flesh, as humans are complicated, cunning, and deceitful, making them the most dangerous post-apocalyptic threat you could possibly find. Now, this next factor plays heavily into your geographical location, which I did touch upon earlier, whilst also kind of linking to the other survivors section, because it's people and the military's reaction to the wildfire virus, particularly in cities across America. In the first few days of the outbreak, local police departments quickly became overwhelmed, hospitals filled up, and riots broke out nationwide. So the military was dispatched into major cities across America, setting up safe zones in strategic areas in order to try and regain control from the undead. This, however, would very quickly prove futile, as after just over a week of trying to retake the cities, morale, supplies, and exhaustion quickly overwhelmed the soldiers, as they not only fought an utterly relentless foe, but were also dramatically outnumbered, with central areas of cities crawling with walkers. But what that means for you is if you were a civilian and you lived in a city across America...
Okay, so like, mainly, this is what you gotta do. You never sleep. No. So, and something like that, if you got a base, and you got a lockdown secured, and you gotta worry about people, you gotta ask, like, who is a night person? You know what I'm saying? Get them locked in, like, okay, look, lock in. This is y'all shift. The overnighters, y'all up while the daytime people let them go to sleep. If y'all was better at night, do it the same thing niggas do during the day, y'all can do it at night. You know what I'm saying? Go out there, do what you do, and come back. You know what I'm saying? But don't risk your life. By the time y'all come back, by the time the morning come, y'all should debrief everybody that was sleeping, that got the day shift, tell them what the fuck happened. So nothing can happen to the goddamn base. Lock it in. Lock that bitch down. Don't let nobody in.
You would have to get incredibly lucky to already be living within an area the military fenced off and protected as a quote-unquote safe zone.
That's the people. That's what I'm saying.
You'd be stuck in a living hell. After things went...
Literally, the problem I may have with people is the fucking military. Because you know how, like, they always go, they go in with a man said. So it's either what they say or nothing at all. Well, I'm gonna go with nothing at all, because you ain't finna come on my shit trying to change my shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be prepared for them.
Bad, many people try to exit the cities, in turn blocking up all the highways, making escape for
they best bet is nuke on my base. That's their best bet. I don't care how many people they bring. Nigga, we could start a war. No survivors. He'll be taking all the tanks, everything, my nigga.
Via vehicle, virtually impossible. To make things even worse, the military were ordered to contain the virus. So in turn, they shot anything that moved outside of safe zones, whether you were infected or not. So unless you were in one of these military zones, you'd be playing a constant and very deadly game of hide and seek versus the people who were sent in to supposedly save you. Walkers were now everywhere across the cities, and riots of angry survivors plagued the country. Your chances of being stuck in a city and trying to survive outside of a military safe zone would be very slim. But even if you were lucky enough to be in a safe zone, you wouldn't fare much better in the end.
I don't care about nobody say. The only safe zone I got is where I build my base around, my nigga. Fuck all that.
As some camps became overrun.
Nigga, if you wanna go fan the military and go with them, bye. I'm not finna try to keep you on my shit if you want to be with them. Because guess what? If you go in there telling the business, guess what? When they come, I'm going to come find you. Don't go tell, I'm like, when they leave, don't tell nobody about us. We go off grid. Don't say nothing to nobody. We got this.
But
if somebody come knock on my door, I know said, and guess what? I had somebody telling you the whole time. And you're fried.
was yet to come.
You're fried.
Because after the military realized they weren't going to be able to take back America's cities, they initiated a plan to try and neutralize the virus. In the middle of the night, the military would evacuate their posts and their safe zones, telling no civilians. And only a matter of hours later, before some had even realized their retreat, the city would be bombed with napalm. This top
That's the only way I'm going out, if they bomb that hole.
Cobalt, and the only way in Fear the Walking Dead our survivors find out about this
That's the only way I'm going there if they bomb my shit.
By literally capturing and torturing a soldier. For many, whilst sound asleep in their supposed safe zones or whilst fighting for their lives outside of them, they would be met by a constant bombardment of bombs. This would not only kill millions of survivors, but also only add to the Walker problem as people subsequently died and reanimated. Operation Cobalt was a colossal military fail and led to the collapse of their control. But this failure meant if you lived in pretty much every city across America except Philadelphia and Portland who managed to escape this fate, you would almost certainly be killed. As for cities outside of America, like Paris, London and Barcelona, although not bombed, we see they fared incredibly poorly as well due to the sheer density of people. So, in the world of The Walking Dead, just merely existing in a city essentially becomes a death sentence. I think often one of the most overlooked challenges within any apocalypse is the mental aspect of it. Let's quickly assume you are within the 1% of survivors, and although the odds aren't in your favour, there is definitely a chance you might survive. While the chances of the people you once loved also being in that 1%, let's just say, are not in your favour. Let's look at Rick Grimes, for example, and just take a second to think about how mentally taxing his journey through the apocalypse was. He lost his wife, his son, countless friends, love interests, and watched Negan bash two of his closest allies' skulls in.
RP my nigga Glenn, my nigga. Fuck. That shit hurt. That's when I stopped watching it. RP my nigga Glenn. And let a nigga roll up on us like that. Oh, I'm setting this bitch off. You might as well do me the worst way. If you let me lead that situation, ooh wee. You think a military came through that motherfucker, how I'ma bum that bitch up.
With a baseball bat. I don't care what anybody says. This is going to have some serious mental repercussions.
And I ain't watching no other spin-off.
Let me give you a real-world example. Take PTSD in US soldiers from World War II. Each and every brave soul who fought on that battlefield didn't go into it thinking, yeah, this is definitely going to mentally break me for the rest of my existence. But for many of them, unfortunately, it did. On top of this, cases of PTSD only rose in prisoners of war, with nearly 60% of them coming away from the ordeal with the illness.
That shit hurting.
Which just proves the human brain in most cases will just break after witnessing terrifying or highly distressing events, like these soldiers saw in war, or reality check, like you would be seeing in the apocalypse. And watching your family and friends slowly turn into flesh-eating monsters, or seeing them killed in front of...
But I already told my whole family, if push come to shove and this shit happens, you so happy to get got, keep you in my memories. But would you rather go out with my hands or somebody else's? I'd rather do it myself and let a random nigga do it.
Mentally destroy you.
Fuck the priest. I hate that nigga.
I think some people would just flat out opt out of existing in a world like this, and others would let it drive them insane. And whilst yes, we all like to think we'd be Rick Grimes dropping some insanely cold one-liners.
Besides, I already made you a promise.
The harsh reality is, most of us would more likely resemble a character like Clara from season 4 of the show.
Ooh.
A woman who after the death of her husband clings on to survival, but is depressed, delirious, and all alone. Until one day, Rick stumbles upon her. She tries to lure Rick back to her camp and use him as food for her reanimated husband in a state of delirium. But after he fights her off...
Rick wasn't on it though. Rick should have been more aggressive. Well, he kept pulling that gun up, but he never shot that hoe. Facts. He always pulled that motherfucker out, but he never shot that hoe for real, only for walkers. If somebody came up on him, he pulled that bitch out, he not blowing that bitch. Facts. That's facts. He was pump faking the whole time. Oh, bro, he was really pump faking. And that was pissing me off. I'm like, nigga, pull a trigger. You ain't gonna do it. Yeah. Go think about what you did.
Off, we just asked to be left alone to die. As ugly and depressing as it may sound, most of our brains just aren't geared to witness the type of horrors an apocalypse would throw at them. Many people would break and become unhinged shells of their former selves, resulting in survivors breaking mentally long before they did physically. In the world of The Walking Dead, as soon as the date hit August 27th, known in the universe as Monument Day, a timer essentially begins, as this is the point food and other resources stop being produced, and the longer into the apocalypse you go, the more depleted supplies will become. Now, sure, you could try and grow your own food.
The only way I'll be ready to go out, once we already so far in that we literally run out of everything to eat and whatever. That's the only time like, you know what I'm saying? It's been a pleasure with y'all. I did the best that we could, running out of everything. Instead of y'all debating about what's going on, I will take the ultimate sacrifice. Leave me be. You know what I'm saying? We don't extract about no more food. And 3 more people got to go with me. So it's going to be 4 to keep the food up with everybody else. You know what I'm saying? My time has come. I done got my badges and my XP. I'm a max level. I'm a high level threat. Once I go, everything will change. Y'all got to survive on your own. Seal the deal.
Food or hunt and fish, but unless you have some basic knowledge in these areas, you'll probably really struggle. We saw in the real world during a certain 2020 global pandemic how people picked the shops clean, leading.
Ooh, ain't gonna cap. COVID, I thought that was my time. COVID, nigga. I was sitting on the front porch like these. I was on the front porch ready. I'm like, yeah. It's that time. I'm in that motherfucker like these. Put the shit over my face. I'm like, yeah. Looking around. Nobody outside. Niggas scared. Hell yeah. Niggas not trying to go that far, gang. Niggas not trying to listen to that sounds. Oh, let me tell you about it. Nigga, I was ready. Bro, you know that sound on Call of Duty? Fetch me aerosol. Nigga, what?
Into global shortages in certain
I'm gonna play this thing.
Well, now imagine the impact
Wait, hold on. Yeah, but yeah.
Zombie
you get what I'm saying.
People's mindsets. They'd loot, steal, and pick clean everything from supermarkets and pharmacies in the first few hours of the outbreak. And after Operation Cobalt decimated the cities, just think about how many supplies were burnt to a crisp in the bombings. Survival would very quickly become a daily struggle. The moment the electrical grid fails, water treatment plants would shut down, and the pristine tap water we completely take for granted now would just flat out be gone. If you resorted to drinking from stagnant ponds, lakes, or local rivers without the means to properly purify or boil it, you aren't just quenching your thirst, but you're playing a dangerous game with a plethora of waterborne pathogens every time you take a sip. And in a world with 0 operating hospitals and no access to basic antibiotics, even the smallest of sicknesses could become fatal. And then comes the starvation aspect. Most people have absolutely no idea how to grow crops, let alone maintain agricultural land without commercial fertilizers, pesticides, and modern machinery. Your only option would be to scavenge the odd bits of food you could find, and possibly hunt if you had the knowledge and know-how. But as the weeks turn to months, and then possibly years, if you've done really well at keeping yourself alive, the challenge would only further increase. Canned goods would expire, medicine would lose its potency, and gasoline would degrade so much it became basically useless, rendering any vehicles you had essentially worthless. Every single day would become a frantic and exhausting calculation of calories spent versus the calories gained. You are constantly operating on a state of starvation, leaving you weak, dizzy, and prone to fatal mistakes, and on top of this, your search for supplies would often take you to uncharted territories, leaving you at risk of being ambushed by the people who live there, or just having your camp raided in your absence. And finally, without the use of vehicles, you'd have to be physically fit as well to be able to outrun walkers and maybe even other survivors, and your cardiovascular endurance would be essential to survival in this environment. In conclusion, although many of us would like to imagine ourselves as this, In reality, most of us would
I'm
probably
not
look
Rick.
something like
I suppose
that.
I'm not Rick in this story. I'm better than Rick. A lot of decisions he made, I didn't like the decisions he made.
Because in order to survive the world of The Walking Dead, you'd have to survive a dormant airborne virus on day one. You'd have to guess the corrupt rules of the undead in a world where zombie media doesn't exist. You'd have to escape firebombed gridlock cities while the military tries to kill you, outsmart the often hostile other survivors, avoid losing your mind from the horrors you'd witness, and somehow find clean water and food every single day. And the harsh reality of it is, the vast majority of us wouldn't be the heroes of this story. We'd either be part of the infected herds wandering aimlessly through the landscape, or be like Clara, an emotional wreck after the death of our loved ones. Because ultimately, survival in this environment is brutal, and it isn't all about how tough you are, because it mostly boils down to a horrifying mix of genetic luck, geographical positioning, and psychological endurance. And that is why 99% of us just wouldn't survive The Walking Dead.
Well, I'm the 1%er.
Lie.
I'm the 1%.
Maybe the future Rick Grimes of the apocalypse is watching this very video, and in that case, I apologize for severely underestimating your abilities.
You got me.
Look, I better than anybody understand how easy The Walking Dead may look to survive, and although it's nowhere near the worst apocalypse you could find yourself in fiction, it would still take a colossal effort just to stay alive. But with that being said, let me know down below in the comments how long you think you'd survive the Walking Dead apocalypse. If you enjoyed today's video, please do like, subscribe.
I'm surviving to the very end. It's how I do my self-sacrifice. That's it, that's all. I just want y'all to know I'm staying to the end. If you cross me, you cross everybody in my town, you're fried. I just want y'all to know that. If it comes to that and boils down to that, y'all are fucked.